So, at dawn in Beijing, negotiators are quietly filing into a room. There's this sense, could today actually bring an end to the US-China trade war?
Yeah, and it's May 5th, 2025. After months of tariffs going higher and prices climbing, we're getting some new signals from Beijing. These could really shift the direction of the trade war. But, is this a real breakthrough? Or maybe just another pause before things heat up again?
Let's talk numbers for a moment. Right now, US tariffs on Chinese imports have hit a high, 145% on most goods since April 2nd. Over the next decade, those are expected to raise about $1.2 trillion. And if you add earlier tariffs, you get to $2.1 trillion. But here's the catch. US GDP is expected to shrink by 0.8% even before any retaliation is factored in. So why does that matter for the average person?
Yeah, for households, it's not just some abstract number. These tariffs, they're basically an extra $1,200 tax per household this year. You see it already. Higher prices at Target, Walmart, Amazon, clothing, toys, electronics, all going up. So this isn't just about government money or trade balances. It's hitting everyone's wallet directly.
And then there's the international angle. Howard Lutnick made this statement, "I have a deal done, 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 done." Maybe the clearest sign so far that talks are moving. But is that optimism really justified? Japan and China both seem open to negotiation, especially after the US's recent tariffs. So what's motivating them?
Well, domestically, it's about pain points. In the US, industries that need Chinese imports are struggling. Supply chains are tangled, costs are up. There's political pressure to pull back. Internationally, stabilizing the markets and keeping the US's role in trade strong, those are big concerns. On China's side, their economic growth is slowing. Tariffs are hurting exporters. Jobs are at risk. There's a lot of uncertainty. And, China's watching as other Asian economies talk to the US. It's, yeah, a complicated chessboard.
The global stakes are huge here. JP Morgan says tariffs could cut global GDP by 1%. Even if things lighten up, a 10% tariff everywhere and 60% on China, you'd still get a 0.7% hit to global growth. Already, JP Morgan's lowered China's 2025 growth forecast to 4.4%. And global GDP growth could drop to 1.4% by year's end, down from 2.1% in January. Business sentiment, which was up back then, has really fallen off. Is this the tipping point?
That kind of depends on what retaliation looks like. Since April 10th, China, Canada, and the EU have hit back. Retaliatory tariffs on $330 billion of U.S. exports. That's supposed to shave another 0.2% off U.S. GDP, and it could mean $132 billion less in 10-year revenue. But tariffs aren't the only move. China could restrict U.S. imports or even halt exports of key minerals, the ones needed for manufacturing. They have almost total control there. How does that shift the talks?
It makes negotiations tougher. The thing is, both sides depend on each other. There's leverage, but also a risk of hurting themselves. If China responds with more tariffs or new barriers, supply chains could get even more tangled, and that could push companies to move out of both countries. Does that actually make a deal more likely?
Some people think so. Economists say the best outcome is if both sides lower tariffs, just step back a bit. But with all these moving parts and unpredictable announcements, every negotiation feels risky. There's even this phrase, mutual destruction scenario. Both sides lose, but maybe not in the same way.
But why does this matter outside the headlines? It's not just two governments arguing. What happens could ease inflation, stabilize supply chains, and restore business confidence, or, if it goes wrong, drag out uncertainty, and raise costs for everyone. So, what should people watch for next?
Look for real moves, scheduled talks, signs of compromise, pauses in tariff hikes, and how the markets react. If those things don't happen, or if the tough talk ramps up, we might just see more of the same. The next few weeks will show us if Beijing's signals mean a real shift, or if it's just another round in this long standoff.
When negotiators close those doors, sometimes history shifts in a single morning. Or honestly, nothing changes. Thanks for tuning in and staying informed with us.
We covered tariffs, inflation, global impacts, and the negotiation dance. Keep an eye on the headlines, and we'll keep you posted. Thanks for listening.